Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is titled Research Methods Class with Dr. Lydia Wabugu. In Research Methods, we have a book titled Research Methods, Theory and Practice. This book is accessible through the website where you can access the hard copy of the book or a downloadable PDF format of the book. In the same website, you are able to access all the courses, which includes the free Research Methods course, IBM SPSS Statistics course, M&E Consultancy course, which are available at a fee. Please find the links in the description. Welcome. Hello and welcome to our lesson 77, where we are continuing with APA 7th edition style of referencing and the guidelines that we need to follow. We have just completed lesson 76, where we have talked about how to format academic papers. Now, in this lesson, we are going to look at how we format our project, our thesis, and dissertations. And we are going to start with the preliminary pages. So we have one outcome, one objective for this lesson, that we should be able to format the preliminary pages of our thesis, our dissertations, or our projects as per APA 7th edition guidelines. So when we talk about a project, a thesis, or a dissertation, these are the documents that students, either in undergraduate and postgraduate level, will prepare before they are awarded the degree. And in most institutions, these documents have preliminary pages, and they also have the main body, which in most institutions has got 5 chapters. Just like we have said in as we were discussing formatting academic papers, when you are formatting your thesis or dissertation, APA should be applied across the whole document. And this is where there should be consistency of pagination. The font style and the font size should be applied throughout the document. We will start by looking at the general format. The general format that you need to be keen on is that 1, the margins across the whole document should be 1 inch, that is 2.54 centimeters on all sides. That is the left, the right, the top, and the bottom should be 1 inch. The whole document should be double spaced, except for level 2 in the table of content, and we'll be looking at it in a moment. The font size and the font style, we discussed this in lesson 74, and we said APA 7th edition now allows various font styles to be used. If you go back to lesson 74, you will remind yourself the font styles that we talked about, but the size should be a minimum of 10 and a maximum of 14. The running head, like we had in the academic papers, is not included in the dissertation. And level 1 heading should be in capital and centered. Note that this may differ from one institution to the other. And APA advises that where there is a conflict between the institution and APA, then the institutional guidelines will supersede. So even as we go through these guidelines, it is also good to look at what your institution allows. Are you supposed to use capitalized headings, or they should use the sentence case where you only capitalize the first word? Then in that case, the institutional guidelines will supersede. We start with pagination. Numbering should be consecutive from the title page. However, title page is counted but not paginated. Preliminary pages carry lowercase Roman numerals, while the main body, that is from chapter 1 to the last page, carries Arabic numerals. Numbers are placed, that is the page numbers are placed either in the upper right hand corner, which is flush with the right margin, or bottom center of page. Each chapter and main sections in the preliminary pages, the reference list and the appendices should start on a new page. and all headings or titles of sections should be centered, bolded, and in capital letters. And this is what we have said. If this is in conflict with what your institution allows, then follow the institution. For instance, you can see this page, which is the declaration page, has page number to the right, all center, bottom. So that is what APA requires. So you can either use to the top, right, or bottom centered. Number 2 is the title page. So we have said the title page is counted, but it is not paginated. The page should be centered. All the information on the title page should be centered. And it includes the following, though it may differ from one institution to the other. 1, title of the dissertation or thesis, and should be in caps and the only section that is bolded. The title should be about 50 characters or less, should not contain abbreviations or words that serve no purpose. For instance, writing a title, an investigation into the factors influencing sustainability. The word an investigation into, it serves no purpose. So the title should just be factors influencing sustainability of community projects, for instance. So avoid abbreviations in the title and words that serve no purpose. And then you place this title 3 or 4 lines down from the top of the page. It should also have the candidate's name. And most institutions will disallow the use of by, the title, then by. You just have the title and then your name. Then it should have the statement of affiliation, and it should have the year of final submission of the dissertation or thesis, like what we have here. So we have the title of the thesis, the name of the candidate, and then the statement of affiliation, and then the year when the project or thesis or dissertation is submitted. Some institutions will even require the month, so follow your institutional guidelines. Then once we are through with the title page, then we have the content before we get to the table of content. Again, the flow may differ. So after the title page, you may have declaration, you may have dedication, you may have acknowledgement, and then list of abbreviations and acronyms. And it is important to mention that the people you are dedicating or acknowledging your work to, please write their full names. Do not be vague in terms of dedicating your work to your son and this son has no name. It would be pleasant and sweet to the person who is dedicated the work to when they are reading their name. So include their full names, and if possible write their 2 names, because if your son is John, there are millions and millions of John, but if he is John Doe, then that may be the only person as far as your relationship with John Doe is concerned. These headings should also be centered, bolded, and in capital letters. For instance, this is a dedication page. What I would want you to note is how we write. So it is centered, it is bolded, and in capital letters. Now, after those 4 pages, then we come to the table of content. And remember, all these are in lowercase Roman numerals. So the table of content again should be bolded and centered with the title table of contents. Table of contents, not table of content. In the table of contents, the page's designation of each chapter or section should be justified right to the 1-inch margin and should be connected to the heading using auto-formatted leader dots. And we are going to look at an example. All sections or chapters should be listed. What is in the whole document should be in the table of content. However, if your document has level 1 to level 5 headings, you are allowed to use up to level 2 in the table of content. And we have demonstrated the 5 levels in lesson 76. So kindly refer to lesson 76 for the different level headings that we use. So note that in the table of content, you are allowed to eliminate level 3, 4, and 5. So the table of content has 2 columns, one for the heading and the other for page designation, and we have said you connect the two using auto-formatted leader dots. Chapter numbers should be identical to the chapter title pages, and when you're writing the chapter titles in the document, you may use Arabic. For instance, chapter 4, you may use uppercase Roman numerals. For instance, 4 is 1V, or you may use numbers written out as word. That is chapter with the word 4 as a word. Double space the table of content. However, use single spacing between subheadings. So from level 1 to level 2, you use single spacing. And if a subheading is longer than one line, the second line of the subheading should be indented. For instance, what we have. So note we have said it is only the title, table of contents, that is bolded, and it is capitalized and centered. All the others are not bolded. And you can see the title introduction is level 1, but when you come to background to the study and statement of the problem, that is level 2. So between the sub levels, or from level 1 to level 2, you can use single spacing. Tables and figures. If you have utilized both, then you should have a page. Each one of them should be on separate pages with the headings capitalized, bolded, and centered. List of tables and then list of figures. When you are showing the table or the figure, once you write table 1, figure 1, table 3, 4, or etc., it should be followed by a colon. And we number them consecutively. I know APA 6th edition, we number tables as per the chapter number. But in APA 7th edition, you number them consecutively from table 1 to table last. Again, this is an area where an institution may require you to use to number the table as per the chapter. So follow your institutional guidelines. Use title case to name the table or the figure where the keyword are capitalized. This should be identical to the wording of the title in the document. Please note, tables and figures in appendices must be listed in the list of tables and list of figures. In APA 6th edition, we were listing, for instance, assume that one of the appendices that you have was a table showing the distribution of your population. So we were listing it under appendices, but now if it is a table or a figure, it should be listed under the list of tables and list of figures. For instance, what we have. So we have list of tables and then we have list of figures. So note that after the figure number, we have colon, and we have said tables and figures are numbered consecutively, but some institution will require you to number them as per the chapter number, like what is shown in this slide. Abstract. The heading abstract should be bolded, centered, and capitalized. It should be a single paragraph which is double spaced. And remember, the first sentence of the first paragraph is not indented. And this is the only exception. The whole document should be indented. The abstract should mainly contain the statement of the problem, research objectives or research questions. Do not include both. Research methodology and a summary of the results and conclusions. Do not italicize the abstract. And the number of words should not be more than 250 excluding the title. And note that every word and number is counted as one word. And numbers in the abstract should be represented as numerals except where they are beginning in a sentence. So some institutions will talk about an abstract of between 250 to 350. The ideal one is 250. Again, follow your institutional guidelines. For instance, what we have. So we have the title is abstract. This title is centered and it is bolded. Then the content of the abstract is not italicized and it is not single spaced. And the first line is not indented. And that brings us to the end of our lesson. We have looked at how to format preliminary pages of our theses and dissertations. In our next lesson, we are going to discuss how to now format the main text or the main body of the thesis or dissertation. Thank you for being part of the class. Please subscribe to this channel. Do not forget to like and share this lesson. And for any question you have, feel free to put it in the comment section.